Oh, my gosh. I've made chicken from tofu, I've made chicken from grapefruit, and I have made chicken from pea protein. But now, after a post that I recently saw on Reddit by Zachary Bird, he created a chicken drumstick using canned jackfruit. Now, I'm not gonna be doing the same thing as him. I'm not making a drumstick. Don't get your hopes up yet, because that video will be coming soon. But today, we're gonna be doing a fried jackfruit chicken. Not just any regular fried jackfruit chicken, we're gonna be doing Nashville Hot fried jackfruit. So the very first thing that we have to do to make our young green jackfruit into a chicken is to open and drain the cans. We're gonna drain and strain the jackfruit through a colander and then wash the jackfruit pieces very thoroughly. Okay, so we have our jackfruit washed. Now our jackfruit is quartered into little triangle pieces. There's gonna be a hard kind of center piece. What we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna cut this center piece off and then squeeze the fibers here and get rid of any seed that pops out. We don't want any seeds. Okay, there it is. That is our young jackfruit. It's de-seeded. You can really see how this is gonna take on a meaty texture. It's really wild. So the next step is gonna flavor our jackfruit to be more chicken-like. I'm gonna be using the not chicken bouillon cube. So before I get a bunch of comments, this is a vegan chicken broth that doesn't include chicken. I know people always comment on that. It's not a chicken broth. It just tastes like chicken. All I'm gonna do is warm up the water. I have about 1.5 cups of water in here. I'm gonna use 1 whole bouillon cube in here. And I'm not bringing this to a simmer yet. I'm just dissolving this cube. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna kill the heat right now while this is just kind of dissolving and mixing in. We're gonna do some nutritional yeast. Now I'll leave the recipe for Zachary's recipe in the description below. One spot where I'm gonna variate from is I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of poultry seasoning, and then we're just gonna add a little liquid smoke. So we're gonna add our jackfruit. Just give this a little spin, make sure it's all nice and coated. So let's kick up this heat. We're gonna bring this to a boil. Okay, now once this is at a full boil, we're just gonna bring this heat down to a medium heat, and then we're just gonna stir this pretty occasionally, frequently, for about the next 10 minutes. It's really, it really looks like a chicken in a chicken broth. This is genius. So now at this point, what I'm gonna do is turn this on to a very low heat, and then we're gonna cover and let this simmer for about another 10 minutes just to allow all that moisture to soak up into this jackfruit. This is gonna be good. Okay, so these guys have been simmering for about 10-15 minutes. We're gonna kick off the heat. They look amazing. Just absolutely amazing. All of that ChickUn broth has really soaked up in here. Now this next part is where I'm gonna deviate from the recipe, from Zach's recipe. I'm gonna use a mung bean starch. You can use mung bean starch or like a potato starch. That's maybe like 1/2 of a teaspoon. And we're gonna do the same thing with a little bit of water to make a starch slurry. So the one thing that I fear with Zach's recipe is that there's nothing really to bind all of these jackfruit meat together. Mung bean starch gels up a lot like a fat would. So we're gonna do, hopefully this is gonna react pretty similar. I'm just gonna pour this over top, give it a real quick stir. Hopefully this is going to react to the hot jackfruit, have a little coating over it. Now I'm just gonna use a large bowl and I'm gonna remove these guys. I'm gonna kind of spread them out. So at this point, now that these are cooled down, we're gonna form a chicken patty. To do that, we're gonna use some plastic wrap. I never have luck with the plastic wrap tear part, it just never seems to really work for me. So we're going to just pour on whatever size patty that we want and then tightly wrap. Give them a nice firm press to kind of form all of everything together, and this is where you're gonna shape it. Let's make a few of these. I tried to get some different shapes and a little bit of variety in how these would come out. But this next step, we're gonna throw these in the freezer for about 2 hours. I don't want them to freeze solid, but we want them to get pretty firm. It's been close to 2 hours. We have some oil here in a medium saucepan. We're heating this up. We're gonna get this up to about 350. So we're gonna need 2 large size bowls. We're gonna have a smaller bowl and a larger bowl for our wet and dry batter. For our wet batter, we're gonna start off with egg. Now I'm gonna do an egg replacement to make sure that these are 100% vegan. For our egg replacer, use 2 eggs worth You could use whatever egg replacer you like. Now we're gonna use about a cup of almond milk, but I'm gonna start off with a half of a cup in a small container here. Gonna give it more of like a buttermilk type of flavor. We're gonna drop in lemon juice. Let's drop in our milk. And we're gonna use about a tablespoon of hot sauce. That's what makes it Nashville hot. Now you could use whatever hot sauce you like. I'm using some Tabasco. Now in our large bowl, we're gonna do our flour mixture, which is gonna be a pretty heavy cup of all-purpose flour, about a teaspoon of paprika, and about a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Make sure it's nice and mixed. The only thing that we have to do now, besides putting the jackfruit together, is make our hot oil mixture. So I'm just gonna do a separate small bowl. We're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of the cayenne, about a half a tablespoon of paprika, a few drops of garlic powder, a few drops of chili powder, and then a heaping tablespoon and a little extra brown sugar. And then all we're gonna do is just kind of break this up and make sure it's all mixed and all of the powders and sugars and everything are kind of mixed really well. Okay, so we're gonna set this aside because this is gonna be used at the very end. Let's go get our jackfruit and get that breaded. These came out awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna work pretty quick. So I'm gonna take one of the jackfruit into the flour, into the wet batter, and then back into the flour mixture again. And then from this last mixture, just gonna drop on this rack for just a few minutes and finish the rest of these up. It's kind of letting that mixture soak together. Oh, look at these, just so perfect. We're a little over 350, so we're gonna drop these in. We're gonna start with this first piece here. I'll tell you, this is amazing. Now I keep checking the temperature because when I first dropped this in, the fact that these were like frozen patties definitely dropped the temperature down quite a bit. So I had to kick the heat up to get it back up to 350 fairly fast. I'm thinking this is gonna take about 6 to 7 minutes for each piece. But I'll say this is looking amazing. Okay, I am pretty happy with this piece. It is looking nice and golden brown. It's honestly looking like a fried chicken breast. Really incredibly impressive. So let's just move on. Let's fry these next 3 pieces and finish this up. This is gonna be amazing. Okay, so these are almost done frying. They're looking pretty good. Right now for the chili oil, what we're gonna do is, I have a ladle. I'm gonna ladle out about a half of a cup of this hot oil and let that cool down. These came out perfect. They honestly couldn't have came out any better. Okay, so for the last step, we're gonna take some of this hot oil. Now it has cooled down quite a bit, but it's still pretty hot. And we're just gonna whisk that into our sugar and pepper mixture. We're just making essentially a sweet and spicy paste. Okay, now for my favorite part, we just have to brush this paste on and making sure that we're getting a bunch of the seasonings and brown sugar as well. Now, one of the keys to Nashville hot fried chicken is the bread and pickle spheres. And here it is, the Nashville Hot Jackfruit. I mean, I think this is gonna be absolutely wonderful. I mean, it smells amazing. It looks insane. I mean, look at that. Let's cut into it and get a piece of this jackfruit. Oh my gosh. Tell me that is not insane. What does that look like? Holy crap. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's see if we have the world's best vegan fried chicken. Absolutely incredible. Oh my God. I mean, I am not lying. I just can't get over this. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It tastes like really good fried chicken. Like really, really good fried chicken. I'm so taken back by this, by the texture and the taste. It's just literally downright wonderful. It's downright wonderful. My mind is blown. My mind is honestly blown. I just cannot get over how freaking good this is. This changes the ChickUn game. There is literally no other fried chicken that is as good as this. I'm telling you right now. I did the Nashville Hot because it's something that I've really been dying to try a plant-based version of. I'm telling you right now, you're not gonna get a better chicken than this. It just doesn't exist in the plant-based world. So gang, I wanna make sure that I thank again Compassion in World Farming for sponsoring today's video. If you're looking to eat plants for a change, but you need a little bit of help to get started, make sure you visit the link in the description below and make sure you sign up for all the tips, tricks, and recipes you need to get started. And if you already eat a lot of plants, or if you're completely plant-based, make sure you send the link to a friend. We can all use a little bit more compassion in our life. So all the names that you see listed over here on the side are the members of the Sauce Squad. You can join the Sauce Squad over at patreon.com/SauceStache and get your name on the list. It's only a few bucks a month. And if you haven't yet, make sure you click the subscribe button and click this video right here. This is gonna be another one of my ChickUn videos.